I've been Coco since I was a baby. My family always called me Coco. Really, it's really deep. My mom and my sisters always told me that I used to kick a lot. So they used to call me Coco Kiss before I was born. And when I met E.T. and we started Dirty Girls, and I used to go by the name Coco for that promotion, I met a guy named Ike, which was a friend of E.T.'s, and we were discussing, Coco Kixie was cool, but it was like it needs to be more fresh. So he was like, how about Coco Kiss? And I was like, I like it, and that's just how the name came about.
Why did they call you Coco from the jump, though?
I have no idea, but I was always really brown as a baby. So they didn't even know my complexion as a baby, but I ended up really being Coco, and actually over time, it just kind of stuck with me, but yeah, that's where it came from.
What's your ethnicity?
I'm African American.
Are you mixed with anything else?
I haven't did any type of, search for my ethnicity, but I'm sure I am because we all are pretty much so mixed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you speak any other languages?
Poquito.
A little Spanish?
Yes.
Okay.
Sí.
Do people think you're something else when they see you?
Yeah, all the time. And I love to express that I'm African American because people have a stigma that black women aren't beautiful. They have to be mixed with something. And I love to say, no, I'm African American. I'm a black girl and I'm pretty. And I like to express that because a lot of black girls don't embrace it. So I want to be the one to be like, yeah, I'm black. I'm not sure if I'm mixed. I'm sure I am. But as far as I know, I'm African American, and that's what I'm going for.
What do people think you are when they meet you? Or mixed with?
The black community have a thing with everybody saying, you mix with Indian. Somehow Native American and African American coincide, and a lot of people always, reference me to being something in that sort. But I do have some background of Native American people.
Being black, did you face any obstacles growing up?
Of course, I still do.
What's something that sticks out to you that you faced?
The hardest thing for me to digest is sometimes I found myself asking God, like, why am I a part of the race that get criticized the most? And I've been, discriminated against over running a red light. The first time I was ever called a nigga was in Atlanta because I ran a red light, and a white guy was like, you fucking, and I was like, oh, they really are like that. And I've had that experience, and I didn't like it at all. It actually brought me to tears, but it made me feel like, you know what, we have to stand up. So it empowered me when I did experience that version of, being black.
Aside from tears, how did you respond to that person at that moment?
In the moment, I just looked at him like, wow, y'all are out here. And prior to me living in Georgia, I have never experienced that before. Yeah.
I see. Now, growing up, was it teasing and bullying because you were black, or just maybe certain discrimination episodes like the one you just described?
Never. I really didn't realize I was black until moving to Georgia. I mean, I don't mean to say it like that, but I didn't feel black until I moved to Atlanta, which Atlanta is a city of empowerment for black people, so it was kind of crazy that I encountered that situation here and never did before where I'm from. So it was just definitely weird.
Now, sometimes in the black community, there's also colorism.
Of course.
That's when there's discussions or debates, people saying light skin versus dark skin, and that sort of thing. Were you ever affected by that?
Yeah, definitely. And I like to call myself a border writer. Dark-skinned men, light-skinned men, they both will talk to me because I'm not considered light or dark. I have like a fair skin color, so it's like, oh, she's not too light, she's not too dark, she's in between. But I've had friends that I will be around, or I would see guys go for my lighter friend, or I would see guys go for my darker friend. Guys have preferences, and it was never an issue for me. But what I will say is I've definitely had my own experience with females. They're harder on your complexion than guys are because lighter females may feel you know, superiority against a girl that's darker. But me, I never really cared about color. Like my lighter friends, my darker friends, they're all my friends. So it was never anything for me. But to see women do it to other women and we're the same ethnicity was really hard to watch sometimes. Yeah.
Do you have any advice? Okay, somebody watching this, and I understand the obstacle and the discrimination example you provided today.
Yeah.
Some people get it way worse than that.
Yeah.
Any advice to somebody that has to deal with discrimination, profiling, stereotyping, and going past these obstacles, whether regardless of their ethnicity, their nationality, their race, any advice to somebody watching this right now? What would you tell them? Any general advice? Because circumstances could be different for everybody, of course.
Of course, and I understand that. My general advice is we're all made who we are for a particular reason. I think you should embrace who you are, whatever ethnicity you are, whatever you've been through. I think in the moment, and this moment, if you hear my interview from Coco Kiss, you need to enjoy who you are because you were made a certain way for something. An example for me is my voice. I was made different. My voice is used to be heard. It's something special about every individual. So I don't feel like nobody is excluded. Nobody is, you know, better than the next person. I feel like whatever your gift is, and when you learn what it is, you need to use it, and that needs to be something that you embrace and never let anybody dim your light. And that's my advice to you.
Was your light ever dimmed because of your voice and the sound of it?
Of course, but the things that I was teased for are the things that make me money till today. So I'm thankful. Sometimes I was just telling a friend earlier that I thank God sometimes because I sound different, because people actually listen to me because I'm sounding different. I don't sound like the average person. I'm very distinctive, I'm very unique, and I'm embracing it like you should.
What did people say about your voice before? What are some things you either seen in comments or heard from other people saying about it?
I've heard everything underneath the sun about how I sound, you know, and the coolest thing about it is y'all care enough to comment. It brings something to your mind to say, oh, she sounds like this, and that to me is enough. I don't care what you think I sound like, but you care to even reference me, so thank you.
Were you criticized for your voice before you got into music?
I was criticized with my voice in the 6th grade. That's when it became a problem. Before the 6th grade, nobody said anything to me. When I got to middle school, everybody was like, why you talk like that? And I'm like, what do I sound like? So it's definitely, when I first heard my voicemail that I left for, you know, people to call my phone, and if I missed a call and my voicemail picked up, I'm like, oh my God. So before I even did music, I heard my voice on a voicemail, and honestly, when anybody speaks, they don't hear what everybody else hears. That's just the truth. I know everybody has experience hearing the voicemail, like, oh, I sound like that. But for me, I was like, wow. But I really get my voice from my mother and my grandmother. It runs in the family. So it's nothing that I'm making up. This is my real voice, and I love it. And ain't nothing anybody can tell me to shut me down, because I've been there, done that, and I've rebuilt myself. And I really embrace how I sound, and I love how I sound. Men love how I sound. Don't let them fool you.
So there's other people in your family that sound like this?
Just like me. Just like me.
Okay, so back in the 6th grade, was it just teasing, or did you ever get bullied for the voice?
Never bullied for my voice, but it was, because everybody where I'm from, we all went to middle school, kindergarten, high school together. I grew up with everybody I was raised with. So it was like when I came to Atlanta and went to high school, then it was like, who are you and why do you sound like that? And I was like, you know, this is my voice. I don't have nothing to tell you. And eventually people will get over it, but I have a thing. If you meet me and you never say anything about my voice, I love you. But if you meet me and the first thing you say is, why do you sound like that? I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't like you. Just off rip, because you're already judging me. And it's like, damn, like you ain't even get to know me before you start talking about how I sound. Like your forehead might be big or your nose might be fat, but I'm not like, oh, why is your nose big or why is your forehead fat? I'm not judging you on your image. So my voice is mine. So when people do bring it up to me, I'm like, I hear it every day. I know what I sound like. I don't need you to ask me any questions about my voice. I live with it every day. And it's my money maker. So it's like, I'm not offended by it, but it's just like to even, you know, try to ask me something like that is like, that's like asking me something about you. in your, physical appearance or even your own voice. I can be like, why you sound like that? You sound different than everybody else. I know my voice is unique, but it's just like something that is mine. So it's like I can't be mad at it, and I can't be mad at people for hearing it differently, but at the same time, it's offensive when somebody asks me, am I pretending to sound like this? Or I know people that do music that make their voice like mine. I'm like, no, this is really my voice. So it's a gift, and I'm appreciative of it.
Did the teasing stop at some point, or there was just always teasing no matter where you
Man,
went?
the teasing goes on 24/7. That's why sometimes I'll be like, yo, this is me. Like, I just heard somebody ask me today, do I speak above my voice box? Or I can't really remember verbatim what he asked me, but I'm like, no, this is how I sound.
Now, okay, this started in 6th grade, but at what point was the turning point of you actually embracing it? Was it a certain grade?
The music.
Okay.
It was the music. It was really recent. The thing is I loved it when I did record. I was still getting used to it myself along with everybody else, and people don't realize that. Like, when you do music, you're hearing yourself repetitively over and over again wherever you go. So you're hearing yourself for the first time sometime. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, I really sound like this. Eventually, I have to just accept the fact that I'm different. So when it came to the music aspect of it, I'm like, how can I let people affect something that makes me money? Because I'm different. I'm not sweating to make money at this point. I'm speaking and it's making me money. So how can I be mad at my voice? It's something that God gave me to use, not just for music, but I have a platform and I have something to say. And because I sound distinctive, people are going to listen to me.
Were you reluctant to try music because your voice was already being criticized?
No, that was what made me want to do music. I wanted to, hey, I like beats and I'm different. Let me write it. And that was where it came from.
You did it yourself, or maybe somebody suggested, hey, you got a unique voice. You should try to hear what this sounds like on a beat or on a mic.
Definitely. E.T., from the time I met him, he was like, do you know you can make money? Because he was in radio. And I'm like, oh, I can? And he's like, yeah, one day you're going to make money off of your voice. And when I decided to do music, one day I was just like, I want to do a song. I was just in every studio. We was going through the studios all day. We had, records to pick up, just things going on. And I'm like, I want to do a song. I want to do a song. Everybody was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, I'm going to do a song, and it's going to be hot. My first record, I performed that song, Onion Booty, for 9 years and never had to work. One song for 9 years. I was getting booked 9 years and didn't have to work. And you telling me that this isn't God-given? So I don't care what people have to say.
So that was your first song you ever recorded, was Onion Booty?
First song I've ever recorded. Onion Booty was my first record. The first time I ever put my voice on a track, and it went crazy. And that's when I knew, I'm like, you know what, this is something that's for me. Because I wasn't even trying to rap. I made a song, and it just took off.
There's some people out there that have distinctive voices and may hate their voice.
Hate it?
Yeah. There's some people that don't dislike they dislike the sound of their own voice. What do you say to somebody out there that may dislike their own voice?
Use it. Use your voice. It's yours. However it is that you sound, or if you're a distinctive, person, if your voice is different from a lot of people, use your voice. You didn't get that voice for a reason. A lot of people sound alike. I mean, to be one out of the few is a fortunate thing. It's not something to look down upon or be embarrassed about. I'm not embarrassed about my voice at all.